Thank you so much for being here on one of the very few days of rest. I hope that today's intellectual labor and stimulation will be all worthwhile. And I hope everyone has their coffee, their juice, their breakfast to kind of seize the day. We will begin with a few introductions. I think I myself am here in the capacity of a student, first and foremost. And I think perhaps that is a trait that all of us are sharing here today. Some of you might know I just completed a Master in Science at Oxford University in Sustainable Urban Development. And it's precisely the subjects of, in today's world of commodification of space and place, operationalization of nature, in the neoliberal world as we know today, that it interested me to pursue these very subjects and learn more about them. And perhaps question what is the role of arts and culture in the context of all of that. And so it is not surprising that my research was around a sense of belonging of young people in a city that is as transient and in ways temporary as Dubai, and what is the role of arts and culture in that very context. And so I evaluated it from two theoretical vantage points of place identity by Proshansky and his colleagues, and sense of community by Macmillan and Chavez. And this is something that I hope I will be able to share and present in the near future. But all of this was happening while I'm also a professional. And so I got to know this region in the past 8 years through the eyes of Alserkal as a director of this organization as we continue to evolve, including Achara Art Foundation. And I think these are the kind of dichotomies that we continuously try to manage as professionals, as researchers, in connecting our practice to theoretical work. Especially as we work between the divide of the global north and the global south and transnational environments. And I think we always attempted to create our own models that worked for this region. And although there were times we felt that we were still in the waiting room of history that Chakrabarti has written about decades ago, it didn't matter because we were never seeking for validation or correctness. And I think today is a collective attempt between Tate, Ishara Art Foundation and Alserkal to create a space for listening and perhaps move beyond these old positions and projects of post-colonial or decolonial thought and reimagine and revisit and resist colonial matrix altogether as we attempt to perhaps understand how subjects appear through contextual and situational being, rather than aim for definitions and seek for those exact answers. And I think as we discuss those alternative epistemologies today, the timing of it is rather urgent and vital, especially in the context of South Asia, Middle East, and the Gulf. And perhaps thinking or discussing the publicness of the scholarship and the praxis of our research is as important today. And so I hope that end of day we will be learning and allowing for that measure of uncertainty as part of this very conversation. And so I would like to thank for all of you for being here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your research and insights as we try to understand how those subjects have evolved and continue to evolve in our contexts. As Alserkal, we've always been invested in scholarship, artistic production, and forms of research. And just very recently, we announced an open call for research grants And so I would like to encourage yourself and any of your colleagues that you might know to encourage them to apply. While we are invested in Miasa region, it is not limited by regionalism or geography. It's really, we invite for proposals that challenge the conventional, where we can remap the geography of knowledge. And so the deadline is end of January next year, so I really hope you can help us spread the word. And for any of those who are here this November, I think it is a very exciting moment, as next weekend Sharjah Architectural Triennial is taking its inaugural edition, curated by Adrian Lahoud. And as part of that conversation in Alserkal, we will be previewing an exhibition in collaboration with Whitechapel on November 6th, curated by Lydia Yi, titled "Is This Tomorrow?" Again, I think it's an attempt between artists and architects to explore the subjects of tomorrow and a lot of the subjects that we will be discussing today. And so I invite you all to be part of it, and do look out for a commission in the yard by a collaboration between an architect, Marina Tabassum, and an artist, Rana Begum. We've also commissioned Matacito Duo, who were part of our spring cycle this year. Their work focuses on degrowth and shrinking cities, and again, challenging modes of urbanism in today's context. And so they will be deconstructing Nadia Al-Kuz with thought, and actually challenging what does it mean to deconstruct spaces and reconnect with nature. And so I invite you to be part of our program. Sorry, I had to plug my kind of shameless self-plug to invite you all to be part of our program in November. And I would like to close with this kind of short introduction and really thank our colleagues at Tate and Nada, the director of Achara Art Foundation, who was instrumental in putting this together. And so I'm really looking forward to connecting with all of you throughout the day and listening to your proposals and your take as to how these subjects appear in today's context. And I would like to invite the senior curator at the Tate soon to also share a few words. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Suk-Kyung Lee, Senior Curator of International Art at Tate Modern. Also, I lead Hyundai Tate Research Center Transnational. This research center is really a new initiative at Tate that is fully embedded in Tate's curatorial activities across the organization, but also all 4 sites of Tate in the UK. We were launched in January this year, so quite a new team, to enhance our existing focus on collecting globally, which has really happened since 2000 when Tate Modern opened this building, but also in 2016 when we expanded to a new building and tried to sort of look at how we have been developing our collection, but also how we are trying to share that those works with our audience in different ways. And reflecting what is really true artistic development across the world now is really at the heart of Tate activities, as you, some of you might be very well aware. And this symposium is a really great example of showing Tate's commitment to promote debate, but also critical perspectives on particularly shared histories and stories across nations and regions. The key part of our title, Transnational, is really a way of thinking about interconnectedness of artistic practice, but also ideas, and its understanding that goes beyond the country of origin or the national borders. So by exploring contact and also exchanges of people and ideas and artworks, and really ongoing shift of interconnections across the world is really our focus. And partnership is a really great way to explore and expand the method of transnational. And we had a privilege of working with the Alserkal Art Foundation and Ishara Art Foundation for this symposium. And I'd like to really thank Smita Prabhakar of Ishara and Abdelmonen and Alserkal for their generosity and insightfulness for this collaboration. And my thanks also goes to Vilma Jurkute of Alserkal and Nada Raja of Ishara. Nada had been my trusted colleague for many years at Tate in her previous role, so this is a great way of continuing our precious link. I'd also like to thank my team, who really tirelessly and meticulously organized this exhibition, this event with Vilma and Nada, Devika Singh and Nabila Abdelnabi, curators of International Art at Tate Modern, and also Emma Jones and Rachel Hayek to work behind the scene and from London remotely at the moment. And thank you all for attending this event and making it such an important event in Dubai, but also linking Dubai to the world. Thank you.
I think a lot has been said, so I will keep it short. But thank you, everybody, for coming out on a Friday, as Vilma said. It gives me great pleasure to be able to gather friends and colleagues here in Dubai for what I hope will be the first of many such meetings. The Achara Art Foundation is a space in the UAE where art and artists from South Asia can become embedded in the dialogues that are happening here. We're not just a space where we exhibit artists, but also a new center where artists and their work are seen within the paradigm of this new interregional connectivity. One that is not always circuited through the centers in the global north. Instead, we're delighted to be able to invite institutions such as the Tate to come here to Dubai to develop these new platforms. I'm really happy to have colleagues from Hyundai Tate Research Center Transnational here in Dubai. And one of our goals at Ishara is exactly to work collaboratively, build partnerships, not just in exhibition making, but also to facilitate research. Disrupting the area studies model is a really important part of developing these new methodologies. So what I'm really happy about today is this conversation between South Asia and the Gulf that will unfold over the course of the day. Thank you, Alserkal Avenue and their new Arts Foundation, Abdelmonem, Vilma, and their staff. I also want to thank Fiza Akram, who can't be with us today, Ashok and Shaina from camp, whose work has been central to my thinking around the exhibition that you will see at the end of the day. And we'll talk more about that when I take you on a tour. And you'll hear from Randhir Singh and Halik, artists who are in the show, but are also presenting here today. Thank you for what I hope will be a day packed with discussion. And I'm going to hand over to Devika to kick things off. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Devika Singh. I'm a curator of international art at Tate Modern, and it's been a great pleasure for me to co-conceive this symposium on exchanges in art, architecture, and photography between the UAE and South Asia, together with colleagues at the Achara Art Foundation, at Alserkal, and of course also within the Hyundai Tate Research Center Transnational. Our first panel this morning is titled Temporary Traces and Translocal Exchanges. And I think it is suited that we start with a paper that addresses the architectural imagination and history of the UAE through the prism of the 2014 UAE Pavilion at the Venice Biennial. This will be the focus of Michel Bambling's paper titled Structures of Memory. Moving from there, we will hear from Rohan Shivkumar. He will be speaking about the film that was shown yesterday night called Nostalgia for the Future, Kal Ka Intezar, which focuses on nation building in India, its architectural history also going back to the pre-independence period, and the relationship that we built from today's perspective with these inherited legacies. So these two first papers trace, if you will, the geographical scope of our symposium from the UAE to South Asia. The two following papers this morning will take the 1960s onwards, following the establishment of OPEC, of course, and the accelerated urban growth and transformation that ensued as their temporal catalyst. We will hear first from Ricardo Camacho with a paper titled Architecture Without City, Pan-Arab Movement and Translocal Practice. This will be followed by Alia Farid, and her paper is titled Acquiring Modernity, and it will focus on Kuwait's extremely rich history of transnational exchanges in architecture.